Are you in business for yourself and you feel like there's never enough money to go around? Well, guess what? You're not alone. Many of us feel the same way. I feel the same way. So I'm here tonight to help you figure out maybe what you can do just a little different so you don't always feel like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Welcome to the Prof Sales YouTube channel, everyone. I am Prof Sales, and on this channel we talk about being in business for yourself, being an entrepreneur, different types of businesses, including reselling on platforms like eBay and Amazon, and just having a positive little niche of the community here in our little section of YouTube. I'm glad you guys are here. Thanks for joining. If you're watching live, of course, you can leave me a question or comment in the chat that's going on right now. You'll be able to see the chat replay when this video loads. But if you're not here live, then you can leave me a question or comment after. I'd love to hear from you, hear what your impressions were and your thoughts were and just what you maybe got out of the show. Maybe you wish it had been a little different. Whatever you want to say, I am definitely open to it. Couple things. There's lots of helpful links in the description below, but also be sure to share and like this video. The buttons are right below this player. And I would really appreciate it. Lets me know, lets YouTube know, lets Google know that I'm doing a good job. And maybe somebody else will be able to see this video and get something out of it. So lots of people are starting to fill in the room. I don't have my sidekick with me, Kaaren, who's usually here. If you haven't been to this channel before, usually you'll see her, but she is actually at dinner with a friend. So I guess dinner preempted the show. No, she didn't even know I was going to do this show this time, to be fair. We were going in different directions this afternoon, and we just didn't have time to get a show together. But I thought I would jump on tonight. Yes, it's a lot later than normal because this topic, and I'm going to talk more about this topic there's a lot of different parts to this topic, honestly. You could do a whole show on any one of these, honestly. And I think it's important because I just would like to see a virtual show of hands from those watching. How many of you feel like you're working in your business, but you're not really getting anywhere financially? Like you're broke, you don't have much money from it. You're not able to pay yourself much of a salary, if any salary at all. You're maybe not meeting your financial goals that you set for yourself this business. It always seems like there's more money going out than there is coming in. I would love to see a show of hands of people who feel that way, but I just want to say that you're not alone. I feel that way every day. That's full disclosure. And I'll tell you why I feel that way. Part of it is because I'm always looking to see where I can go next, what I can do next, how I can grow next. So there's always a sense of, well, I haven't arrived yet. I haven't arrived yet. There's still more to do. There's still more growth, which I get that. Part of it is we tend to feel that's just the way it goes. And that's kind of a defeatist attitude that we all slip into sometimes. We all think, well, it's just the way it's going to be. And I'm guilty of it as well. I'm sure some of you have felt that way before. You feel like, well, it's just not going to get any better than this. This is it. This is as good as it gets. I'm just piddling along here, and that's the way it's going to be. But I don't think that's really true. I think that you can have a successful business, whether you're full-time in this gig, you're part-time, maybe you're a hobby business person, you're just in this to make a few bucks here and there. Whatever your reason for doing all this is definitely, you can make it work. You can make it financially worth your while if you want to. And the reason I say that is because the current business environment in the United States, or really anywhere, I don't know where you watch this video from, there's so much opportunity. There's so many different ways you can pivot and do things that there's really no reason to ever continue doing something that's failing unless you're just a glutton for punishment, unless you just want to fail for some weird reason. So I think that you have to keep in mind that if you're not getting out of your business what you want financially, then you need to make some changes. And that's what we want to talk about in this show. Kelly says her spreadsheet says I'm making money, but sometimes I don't believe it. I know how you feel, Kelly. I feel that way every month. I do. Sometimes people will say to me, yeah, you're a successful eBayer and so on, or reseller or YouTuber or whatever. I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel unsuccessful, but I don't feel like I've achieved success yet either. Like I have big dreams and aspirations and places I want to go with this that I'm nowhere near done. So I appreciate the well wishes, but honestly, it's always an evolution to some point, right? But let's talk about this topic because I think it's important. I think you guys need to consider, if you feel like you're broke in your business, then maybe you can take, stock of that and figure out some things to not feel so broke. I think there's 3 stages of a business with regards to cash flow. And cash flow just means how much money you have coming in versus how much you have coming out. We're not talking about a long-term acquisition or long-term wealth building or anything like that. We're just saying, if you looked at every 30 days or every quarter, or every year, how much is coming in and how much is coming out. And the difference between those is your cash flow. Cash flow could be positive, it could be negative, or it could be sort of neutral. And if you are cash rich, that's the first stage of a business. And that's when you are bringing in more than you're spending by a wide margin. Now, I don't know how many of you guys feel like that. And we could sit here and talk about what does a wide margin mean, for instance. I would say there's some rules of thumb you could probably follow. If take whatever you're making per month, and if you're netting after all your expenses, including any salary you're paying yourself and tax preparation, all that stuff, if you're making 25% of whatever you're making, like if your gross sales are $2,000 in a month and you have $500 left over, 25% or more, I think you're pretty cash rich. Your model is producing more cash than you are spending, which is obviously where you want to be, right? Now, you could argue maybe it needs to be higher than that if you're not making a lot of money. Like if you're only grossing $100 a month, maybe you say, well, $25 is not much. I want to be netting at least $50 or $100. That's fine too. But I think it's a good place to start. 25% of your gross revenues left over after you've paid everything. I think you're fairly cash rich if you're continually doing that. We'll talk about that in a moment. Cash neutral. And there's never really neutral, I guess, but for our purposes, we'll say this is just where you have just enough to pay everything, but there's no way for you to grow. There's no growth. You're not getting further behind. You're not getting further behind, ahead either. So again, let's go back to the example. Let's say you're grossing $2,000 a month in sales. And after you pay yourself and pay your cost of goods and pay all your overhead and put aside money for taxes, you have $0 left over, or maybe just a small amount one way or the other. I think that is a cash neutral position. And again, you're never going to be exactly zero probably because you're going to be on either side of that number. But it's a good place to, kind of think about it like it's zero or pretty close to zero. Cash poor. How many are cash poor? This is very simple. You're losing money each month. I use the monthly time frame because I think it's good, but you could put on any time frame you want. Each month, let's say you're grossing $2,000 a month and you're spending $500 or $200 or $300 more than you're making. There's an old saying that says, it doesn't matter what you make, it's what you spend. And to some degree, that's true, because if you are spending more than you're making, I got news for you. You are going broke. It's a matter of time, but you're going broke. If you're consistently bringing in, X amount of revenue and you're spending 105% of X every month or 110% or 115%, whatever it is, you are going broke. It's a matter of time. You're going broke. And that's a bad place to be in. It's a bad feeling to have. And there's some months you're going to feel like that maybe more than others. But I have felt that way on numerous occasions and had good months, bad months, good years, bad years. I've had good months and good years and bad months and bad years in my personal finances too. I think we all have. We all kind of know what that feels like. And maybe you have unexpected expenses or your revenue dropped off in a given month, or who knows, anything can happen, right? But I just think that if you're in that place, that's not a good place to be in. And we'll talk about what you can do. So here's what I'm going to tell you guys you should do first. And I'm really curious how many people have done this that are watching right now in the chat. You got to take stock of where you're at. I think the hardest thing for a lot of people to do in their personal finances, in their business finances, is to take stock of their financial position. In other words, are you cash rich? Are you cash neutral? Or are you cash poor? Do you have more coming in every month than you have going out? Do you have about the same, or do you have less coming in than you have going out? You got to take stock of that. You need to pull out a piece of paper, a pen, a spreadsheet. You can use software if you want, QuickBooks Online, mint.com, so many different resources. Your bank, if you're using online banking, your banking might even have a way to track your resources, but you need to take stock of that, guys, in your business. You need to sit down and track everything you spend and everything you bring in. And I would say you should do it for 90 days. 30 days doesn't really give you enough of a snapshot. It can show you some things maybe, but 30 days is not really that long. And you're going to find a few things are going to happen when you do that. I think you're going to find that you are more conscious about what you spend, which is a good thing, right? Just the fact you're going to have to write it down and be accountable to yourself. Or if you can't be accountable yourself, be accountable to a business partner or your spouse or significant other. You know, say, hey, I need your help with this. So can you help me make sure that I'm writing down everything that I spend in a given month? And then you're also going to need to write down everything you bring in. Every piece of revenue your business brings in is a good thing, because you know, while you can cut your spending theoretically to zero, you can increase your revenue technically to infinity. All right, not infinity, but to a huge, huge number. Like, that's the one that you can actually make the most headway with in the long run. But we focus a lot of times on what's going out instead of what's coming in. And I think that's kind of a mistake we make. I've made that mistake, and I'm sure some of you have too. So after you've done this for 90 days, and by the way, don't forget about like the little things that add up that maybe you kind of don't really count. If you have a bank account and you have a monthly fee for the bank account, put it in there. If you have a store and you're selling on eBay or Spotify or Amazon or whatever, and you're paying subscriptions, that's an expense. If you have any memberships to any professional groups or organizations, those are expenses. Anything that recurs, do you have an extra phone for your business, a website? Do you have, anything that is coming in on a regular basis, recurring, is sometimes easy to forget because the money gets taken out automatically and you don't even miss it. And that's why they love doing automatic withdrawals, because they know you won't miss it as easily and you'll not likely quit. But you need to count all that, and your bank statement is a great place to start with. And that brings up a whole other point, just trying to consolidate all your things down to one bank account. It's going to make this a lot simpler, but that's for another day. But don't forget to count all those things, add up all the money that you're spending every month on this business. If you're buying supplies in that 90 days, put it down. If you bought equipment for your office, if you bought paper, I don't care if you bought a pen, if you bought a drink while you were out sourcing, put it down. Gas for your car, maintenance, all these things are expenses, guys, that you would not have had without your business. So you need to put them down as a recurring or one-off type expense. So once you get all that down, you're gonna have two columns of paper, or two columns on this piece of paper spreadsheet. You're gonna have revenue and you're gonna have expenses. And you're gonna compare the difference of those. You're gonna sum them all up. Spreadsheets are great at this. And you're gonna add them all up, and you're gonna say how much revenue is coming in versus how much expenses are going out. And if you have more revenue coming in than you do expenses, you are cash rich to some degree. If you're about neutral or even, you're cash neutral. And if you have more cash going out than you have coming in, you are cash poor. And these labels are just to help you identify where you're at. They're not like a judgment on your business savvy. So don't take it that way. Plenty of successful businesses have had rough periods and patches where it went very badly for them for a long time. Sometimes they blew it totally up and started over. And that's okay. And now they're successful. That's just the way the game works. So if you write all that down, if you put all that in a spreadsheet and you say, and you find out that every month you're losing money over 90 days, that's not surprising. It's not surprising. I had someone say to me last year, another reseller said, the problem with reselling is that most resellers are broke. And I kind of didn't really internalize that comment at the time, but I kept thinking about it, And I don't think they said it in a way that was, it wasn't meant to be mean. It wasn't meant to be judgmental. It was just a matter of fact. It was a statement. And I understand that. I've had plenty of times in this game where I felt like I've been flat broke in this business. It's like, man, the sales are off, the money's not coming in, the expenses are still there. It sucks. It sucks really bad. But after you figured out where you're at, cash rich, cash poor, cash neutral, you can take action. It's really that simple. If you're cash rich, if you have 25% more revenue, if you take your gross revenue and you have 25% of that left over every month or more, and then that could scale down as your gross grows because it'd be more money. Congrats. I think you're cash rich. You can do all kinds of things with that money. You can grow your business more. That's always a great option. You can continue to put that money into your business and expand out your operation. Maybe it's in the niche you're in. Maybe it's a different one. You can take a trip. Congratulate yourself. Hey, over these 90 days, I netted $3,000 more than I thought I was making. So I'm going to take $1,000 and go on this trip. Do it. It's important to go away and recharge and have things like that. So if you think you can, do that, do it. You could pay yourself more salary. How many of you guys out there in the chat right now, how many of you are paying yourself a salary in this business? I mean a regular salary. And I don't care even if it's just not a big number every month, every week. Because if you're not paying yourself a salary in this, guys, I hope you're putting that money back in to grow your business. And if there is no money to grow your business and there's no money to pay yourself a salary, there's probably no money to take a trip or do something nice for yourself. So then you got to think, well, why am I doing this? Because this is not working out. We'll get to that in a moment when we talk about cash poor. But pay yourself a salary. I think it's important. I pay myself a salary different times during the year. It kind of fluctuates a little bit given whatever's going on in the business. But it's important. And if you have a certain types of businesses, you're supposed to set up certain corporate structures. You're supposed to pay yourself a reasonable salary, the IRS says, and talk to your CPA about what that means and what that looks like in your case. But pay yourself, guys. I'm going to just say that. I'm going to go on record and say that. Like, pay yourself a salary. Because I know it may not even be anywhere near what you've put into this. And you may feel like you're worth way more. But man, there is something about feeling appreciated even from yourself. And you did this business ostensibly, I guess, to make money on some level for some purpose. But some of that could be to pay yourself a salary. So pay yourself a salary, even if it's $20 a week, doesn't matter. So if you're cash rich, though, you've got to realize that could change. You could hit a rough stretch. You could incur more expenses than you thought. Your business results could drop off. You could get sick. Someone in your family could get sick. Anything can happen and will happen. So if you add new expenses to your business, whether it's taking a trip or maybe you add a warehouse or maybe you're starting to source a different item or maybe you want to hire someone, try to make sure if it's not just a flat out personal expense, which you could actually incorporate that in the salary I just mentioned, try to make sure that if you add an expense to your business, it's going to allow you to grow. It's not just the cool new fad of the week. Because man, the reseller niche that I've been in for the last several years, we are very guilty of falling in love with the new gadget, the new software, the new subscription, the new thing to sell, whatever. And there's nothing wrong with experimenting, but really stop and think about, is it really going to help me grow? Am I really going to use this to grow with if I put money into this? If the answer is no, I wouldn't do it. I would put that money on the sideline before I would put it in something that I really want to grow. Like if you just say, well, you know, I've got this old printer that works really well, but the new one would be really cool. It's only $300. You know, $300, is that printer really going to help you grow? Probably not, unless your other one is broken and just always having issues. That's different. But if your old one is working just fine, you know, keep it. Or a new tape gun. God knows Kaaren loves her tape gun and her tape. But, you know, just try not to spend money just because you want some newfangled thing, because you're going to hit these road bumps. And I would recommend, you know, take 10% of that windfall every month and put it away for business growth. Maybe set it in a money market fund, set it in something really safe, you know, that maybe won't gain a bunch of money, but you won't lose any money on either. Just keep it aside, guys, because the rainy days, the rains will come for sure. So if you're cash rich, congratulations. You have a lot of options, but don't squander it because it's very easy to do. Before I go to the next one, make sure you guys are hitting the like button if you like this video and you're enjoying the content. Lets me know I'm doing a good job. Let's Google know as well. Adam says he has to get a car soon. Yeah, and I mean, you know, a car is almost a necessity in a lot of places for transportation, maybe for your business, what have you. And it's expensive and it sucks money out of you every day you own that car. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, it's a very real need. So, you know, if you got to get a car, you got to get a car. I bought that van to help me source, and it's come in handy numerous times to do that. I've moved equipment in it. I've moved thousands of books in it. I've moved thousands of jeans in it. I've taken people places at reseller meetups. I mean, I've done all kinds of things with that van. It was a great investment. I've gotten my money's worth. I don't think it was a waste at all. I didn't pay a lot for it. And it's not paid off yet, but, you know, I don't really care too much about paying it off because it's not really worth that much. But make sure you can justify the expense. Cash neutral. So this means you don't really have a surplus and you don't really have a shortfall. You're sort of breaking even. You need to take action because you are one 30-day period away from becoming cash poor. And it could happen so easily. Your sales could fall off 10, 20, 30, 40%. It happens to people all the time. You could have an illness and you couldn't work, or someone else could. You could have your car could blow up and you could have some unexpected big expense with that. So many things could happen if you're cash neutral. So it's not a great place to be. It's better than being cash poor, but it still doesn't have the advantages of cash rich. So if you're kind of breaking even, you need to take action right now. And here's some things that I would recommend doing. And by the way, you could segment your business into segments and decide if each one of those is cash rich, cash neutral, or cash poor. Or you can look at it holistically at all things. But if you're doing different things, selling different goods and services, different platforms, you can look at each one separately. It's like, what am I spending on this one? What am I making on this one? What am I spending on that one? What am I making on that one? So on. But if you're cash neutral, here's some things I would do. Increase your selling price for your goods or services if you can. That sounds very simple. And in some cases, you're probably going to say to me, this won't sell for any more than what I've got it listed for. And I'm going to say to you, you know, then maybe you need to do number two if you're cash neutral, which is offer something new that has higher margins. And when I say margins, I mean actual dollars. A 100% margin flipping a $1 item to two doesn't really do you any good unless you can flip a lot of items. And you're going to put a lot of time into those items usually. Profit dollars matter way more than profit percentage. I mean, think about it. Would you rather make a 10% margin on $100,000 or a 25 or a 50% margin on $25,000 or excuse me, $15,000? So, you know, the percentage doesn't matter. Like the actual number of dollars is what matters. Like if you can put thousands and thousands of dollars in your pocket each month and each year, that matters more than actual profit percentages. People in this, especially in the reseller world, get so hung up on return on investment, and it's such a mistake. Look at this. I flipped this $1 item into 5. Great, but it's $4. And how much labor did you have into it? You know, I mean, that's a great return on investment, but you know, I would rather flip a $10 item into a $30 item because I'm making $20. I've only got to, you've got to sell 5 items of your example to catch up to my 1. And you've got to do the work that it'll take for 5 items, where I'm only going to do it once. So actual dollars matters more than return on investment percentages. Like, don't get caught up in that. And examine every cost you have, and is it necessary? I am actually trying right now to slowly but surely squeeze my eBay listings. Do you like that visual, everybody? Squeeze my eBay listings down to where I can maybe just sneak in there and drop the store level. Why? It's less money. If I can do it and make it economical, I'll do it. I don't know if I'll get down that low or not. But if I do, I'm going to do it because it's just less money. How many subscriptions do you have every month? How many subscriptions do you have to things that you don't even use anymore? I bet some of you do. I bet you thought about, well, I'm going to do merch by Amazon, and I'm going to get Merch Informer, which is a great product, by the way. Nothing wrong with Merch Informer. But now, all of a sudden, you're not doing merch by Amazon. You're not putting up any shirts. Why the heck do you need Merch Informer? You don't. Get rid of it. You know, why do you need the bigger store if you're not using all your listings every month and you're not saving on the insertion fees? You don't necessarily need it. I mean, there are reasons to have a store, but check every cost and its necessity. Do you really, really need it? Or is it just something you really want to have? If you're renting a storage building, could you put the items in your garage if you have a garage or a spare bedroom? It would save you the cost of the storage building. It would also save you some time in going to the storage building. How about when you source your trips or you go on sourcing trips? If you're a reseller, are you plotting out, you know, the way to go about them in the most efficient manner? There's all kinds of apps out there that'll do that for you. So you use less gas, less time, less wear and tear on your car. I mean, these are all just like simple little things you can do. Not any one of them is going to help you immensely, but they add up. The third and final stage, guys, is cash poor. More is going out than is coming in, and this is the toughest one, right? How many are in this boat? I'm in this boat some months, but I don't really care because there's other months where I'm ahead of it. So it's like, it, you know, balances out somewhat. But part of that's because I'm full-time. I have to pay myself a salary, and I'm expensive to the business, unfortunately. Dang it. I should fire myself. More is going out than is coming in. All right. You're selling $2,000 a month. You're selling $1,000 a month, and you're in a hole, $500. You've done your 90 days, and you realize, oh my gosh, I am spending too much. I am not making enough on the backside. Whatever it is. First stop the bleeding. Cut out every cost that is not critical to your business. Now, what do I mean by that? A lot of resellers out there that get started in this business do it part-time. And that's kind of how, you know, it's a natural evolution. And the reason they do that is because they have some time without a lot of capital to put in this business. A lot of the spending things you do, though, probably save you time, and you probably have time that you're not spending on the business that you could be and not spending the money on whatever that is. Like, for instance, suppose you're paying people to list for you, or you have a VA doing photos for you. You could cut that out and do it yourself. Suppose you do have the store subscription like we talked about, and you can get by with a cheaper one. You could do that. Suppose that you've been driving around a lot to find things, but you know of some places where you can go and get a bunch of items in bulk and, you know, save, you know, time and money. Do it, because you have to. If you've got time but you don't have money, then spend the time instead of the money in every way you can. But that's not going to get you there. Like, you can't reduce your expenses into prosperity. Like, you can't save your way to rich. It doesn't work. But if more money is going out than you're bringing in every month, you're going broke. It's a matter of time. So you got to turn it around. So you got to take action. You got to do it really quickly. And first step, analyze your model. I did this with jeans recently and pre-owned clothing in general. And I realized that while it's profitable, it was not profitable at the level and in the way in which I needed it to be. I needed it to be for my situation. Now, it's not to say it's not profitable for your situation. That's different. But in my case, and what I wanted to do and what I was moving towards, it did not make as much sense as other models. And I think a lot of resellers sell themselves short. And I think a lot of people in business do that too. They don't have proof of concept of something. They just throw it out there and hope they saw somebody else do it. So they think, oh, I can do it too. And it's not that you can't do it. It just doesn't really fit. Does it fit your situation, your strengths, your challenges? And a lot of times the answer is no. Like for instance, if you live in a part of the country where pre-owned clothing is really expensive in say thrift stores and people tend to charge higher prices in those types of stores, and you want to start a clothing business selling on eBay, you're going to struggle. Where's your inventory going to come from? And even when you get it, it's going to be more expensive. So it's not that you won't work hard. It's just that you're not working very smart at it if that's what you're doing. So I would say analyze your model and make sure you're producing enough actual dollars from it. And if you're not, choose something different. Are there any companion goods and services you can offer your customers? Now, a lot of people watch this show are resellers, and you could do that by bundling things together. That saves you time. It encourages a larger sale. It gets rid of more inventory more quickly and puts dollars in your pocket faster. Maybe you're in a business where you're offering a good to somebody and you could tack on a companion service. Like plenty of places do that. Like I'll give you an example. Say you want to go rent a truck to haul things. Well, they'll rent you the truck, but they're also going to offer you insurance. Why are they going to offer you insurance? Because it's a moneymaker for them. And they tell you things like, well, if you wreck that truck, it's going to be $50,000. So, hey, get this insurance policy for $15 or whatever it is, and that'll protect you. Whether you need the insurance or not is another question altogether. But the point is that, that's going to help. That's going to help drive up your sales if you can add on companion businesses, companion services. So look to do that every way you can. It can really boost your bottom line. Sell higher profit dollar items, even if you lose some sales velocity. So what I mean by that, is it better to sell 100 $10 items, $1,000? Or is it better to sell 25 $50 items? Right? So the point is that when you sell higher profit dollar items, you may not sell as many of them, but you're making more on each sale. So you don't have to sell as many of them to get even more dollars. And a lot of people think they just need to throw a bunch of stuff up and get it all out there. And then, I don't know. I'm starting to move away from that mindset that you think like the only way for me to be successful at this is list 10,000 things. And okay, that's going to be really difficult to do. It's going to be pretty much impossible to do if you're one person. So you're already talking about expanding your business out, which is doable, but just try to look into expand it gradually even, say, all right, I'm going to explore this niche where the average selling price is $50 an item instead of the $18 an item I'm doing over here. So I think that's an easy way to help your cash situation. And the last one, guys, and this is the hardest one, and I know it's the hardest one for some people to stomach. If you're really cash poor and the money is just not coming in like you thought and it's not working, consider stopping and doing something else. Now, I wouldn't say quit and feel sorry for yourself. That's not healthy or productive. But it's okay to quit and go in a different direction. That is not failure. It's not. Failure is continuing to do the same thing, throwing money and energy at something that is not working. That is failure because that's just you not being, conscious of the facts. If you wanted to sell on Amazon and you started selling on Amazon and you did it for a year or two and you just kept losing money and you tried different things, different models and different sourcing and it just didn't work for you for whatever the reason, stop. Do something different. Do something different. It's okay. I mean, at some point, I think we all get frustrated if we keep spending so much time doing the same thing over and over and getting just not great results. I think there's value to just saying, screw it, I'm done with it. I'm going to move on. I'm going to do something totally different. And that's a good thing. I don't know what it is for you or what it'll be for me. I mean, I've moved and changed and evolved several times, and I think that's part of it. So don't be afraid to just stop and pivot and go a whole nother direction if you have to. And, you know, you might just find what you really are looking for out there. You know, it was something that was there all along. You just hadn't tried it before because you were just so determined to do one thing. So those are some good tips, guys, on how to budget your money. I mean, you could go into specific examples on how to do it, like with a spreadsheet or what have you. I'm going to try to move this computer and not kill myself here because it's a little uncomfortable setting up there. Sorry if the lighting changed a little bit. But yeah, if you guys have questions or comments too, I'd love to hear them. I'll tell you a couple other things that are going on in the business. Almost 100 people watching, by the way, so thank you very much for that. Please smash the like button if you haven't already. Lets me know and Google know I'm doing a good job. Kathy said, I sold something today for free. I got it for free and sold it for $4, trying to figure out whether it's really worth it or not. In a vacuum, Kathy, I'm going to say no. Because your $4 had some fees taken out of it, right? You have tax liability on that $4, potentially, depending on your own personal tax situation. And your time and energy you put into it's worth something. I would suggest after doing all that, you couldn't have have more than maybe $1 worth of profit in it. Is it really worth the time to list and photograph something and pack and ship it and whatever you had to do to sell it for $1 that will take that much time and energy to put into it? I mean, there are things that maybe you would do, like if you had 50 of them, you could do one listing and sell 50 of them off that one listing. That's different because then every time you sell one, you're making $1. And once you've sold 50 of them, you made $50. That's pretty good. But to sell just one, I would say no. PROF After Dark is popular. Yeah, Poker After Dark. That was a great show back in the day. I don't even know if it's still on. So let me talk about books for a minute. I don't know if anybody wants to hear about books, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So whatever. A friend of mine, this is why you network, guys. A friend of mine sent me a KDC 200 scanner, which oh, wow, which looks like this. Probably see that there. It's got a little barcode that shoots out of the end. I'm gonna try to see it coming out. I don't want to shine it right in the light and the camera, make you guys blind. I don't know if that would work through the. But that, so they sent me one of those and they said, hey, try it out for a couple months, see if you like it. They never use it. They said, if they do, we'll make a deal. We'll make a deal on it to buy it. These scanners are not cheap new. They're like $150 or something like that. So this is for book scanning. It's already paired to my phone. So the advantage is one, the barcode stays on for a few seconds. Two, look how small this is. Like, I mean, you can kind of see, I'm going to try to give you a sense of the scale. So let me show you, like, I don't like to be obtrusive when I'm scanning something in a store. I don't know about you guys. So this is my phone, right? iPhone with an OtterBox case, and here's the scanner. And here's the cool thing about this scanner and all these scanners is you pair them through Bluetooth to your phone. You can stick earbuds in your ear connected to your phone, and you can scan books and hear audible signals that tell you to accept or reject a book and never even have to technically look at your phone. Now, that's not totally ideal from what I've learned, because there are situations where, you know, any software, scanning software, will reject a book that you might take if you looked a little closer, and it might accept a book that you might put back if not. But to go fast, to go do 1,000 books an hour, you need a scanner. The phone is just not fast enough because you got to pull the book out further, usually, tilt the camera, get it to focus, and then look at the number and hear. And I don't leave it on audible because I don't want people in these stores and libraries. I went to a bunch of libraries today. I don't want to be disturbing them, really. This will be so much easier. It did not have the lanyard with it, so I probably need to get a lanyard. It's got a spot for one because you could drop it. very easily. It's not very big. But pairing it was a piece of cake for the most part. It took me about 5 minutes to figure it out. You could stick this on the bottom of your phone, like up under it, so the button was below. So you could be looking at your phone as you scan too. So just to kind of show you what that would look like, people do it. They do something like this. So they have it underneath, and they have in the button, and you can see the beam coming out. So you could do that as well. That way you could see your phone and see the book's results as you scan the item. But I'm excited about it. I didn't get it till late today, so I didn't get a chance to go out and try it. Mail came kind of late. But I'm going to share a couple results with you guys today that I found. I went out today scanning. I went to what did I go to? Three libraries. Three libraries, one Goodwill. I went to the bins. You guys know how I feel about the bins. But I wanted to see what their books were like at the bins, and I did find some books at the bins. So I wanted to show you guys what I found. So today, see if you can see that. I found I scanned 326 items, which is kind of not really that many. God, I know you can't even see that, can you? Here, now you can see it. And 6% accept rate, 18 books. I'm not scanning everything in these stores, guys, by a long shot, and I should be. I'm not scanning a lot of the fiction, but there's probably some nonfiction mixed in with those, and I'm missing as well some fiction books that would work. I changed my triggers around a little bit today in terms of what it will sell, and it was great. So I'm excited about it. Just learning, sort of this new niche. And it's allowed me to sell some items on Amazon and build up. I've got a bunch yesterday too. I found 20 books at one library and paid a total of $14 for them. You can't beat that for cost of goods. And they're all going to sell for, a decent profit. Even those 20 books will sell for like probably about $120 worth of profit. So pretty good. But not every store is that good. So I'm having a lot of fun doing it. It's kind of cool learning something new. When I'm in these stores, like if I go to a Goodwill or a thrift store or even a estate sale, I can always look for other things too. It's not like I have to do only books. Someone said, can you scan store products instead of books? You can. And this particular app I've been using is called Scout IQ. You can see the name there at the top. It has a live mode you can put it in. And when you put in live mode, you can scan anything in Amazon's, if you've got, Wi-Fi or cellular connectivity, anything that's in Amazon's database will come up. So yes, you could scan anything with it when it's in live mode. I usually keep in database mode because it's really fast, but you can put it in live mode. It's no big deal. You're not selling shoes anymore. Yes, I am selling shoes. We are still selling shoes for our consignment clients. We still have a bunch of shoes listed for ourselves. So I don't think I will stop selling shoes, to be honest with you. Shoes are too good a profit. I do want to get better at selling new shoes because I kind of suck at it, to be honest with you, so far. I'm not exactly ecstatic about my results. I've sold a few, but not as many as I'd hoped. So, I got to get a little better at it, but I will definitely keep working at that. But no, we're still selling shoes, so don't think that's gone away. What else is going on? Yeah, I'll be. I remember you and your wife and son cleaning at sometime racks a long time ago. Yeah, we did like a shoe cleaning video. We talked about how to clean shoes and what we did. We talked about some other things too. But yep, that's true. We did it right there over there. Yeah, there's some other stuff that's coming down the pike too, guys, that I just can't talk about yet because I don't really know how it's going to all play out. But there will definitely be some changes that are going to happen over the next 60 days, 90 days. That'll be just like the situation is changing. I don't know, like nothing bad. It's just different. And so we'll be sharing that with you guys too as we go along. But it just reminds me that you have to stay nimble in this business. It's always like you've got to be able to to pivot and do things differently. Austin and Vegas. Yes, Austin is, so I will be in Austin on June 6th, which is only, wow, that's 3 weeks from today. I'll be there at the Green Room event. The Green Room is a professional group of resellers, mainly eBay and Amazon, but some other ones too. It's a paid group. It has about 800 members or so. And if you're interested in it, there's a link down below in the description here. I believe it's $200 a year for a membership, which is a pretty good bargain. But every year they have an annual meetup. I mean, they have a Facebook group, some other things they do too, special shows and content they put out. But every year they have a meetup that they have in Austin, Texas. Although I've heard it might change next year. It might be somewhere different. This year it's in Austin, Texas. We go, we do some thrifting. We do some cool stuff. We have seminars. We do a lot of cool stuff together and network with each other. There's events and so on and prizes that they give away. There's a yard sailing morning on Saturday that's pretty fun. I mean, so it's all kinds of things like that they do. So if you're interested in the Green Room, check out the link down below in the description. It is a cool group, guys. I highly recommend it. If you don't join the Green Room, you should look into joining a smaller, more intimate group, I think, because I think you get more value out of that a lot of times than some big, huge 25, 30,000 member group on Facebook where you're just one face in a crowd. And they often get taken over by, sometimes by zealous admins or zealous members. Not saying they can't be good too. I'm just saying that I like a smaller group for me personally because of all those reasons I just said. But yeah, the Green Room event's coming up in 3 weeks from today. So Kaaren and I both will be there. We're going to be giving a presentation at the seminar on Thursday. I think we're Thursday morning, if I remember correctly. And then next month, we have Las Vegas for the eBay Open, which is July 24th. Yes. We have not bought our plane tickets. We bought our eBay Open tickets, but not our plane tickets. So we were kind of waiting for a better fare to see if we could get it, but I don't know if we're really going to get a better fare at this point. We're probably just got to bite the bullet and do it, right? But that should be a lot of fun. It's a big annual event. This is the 3rd or 4th year they've done it. They invite thousands of eBay sellers from all around to come, and you can go there for workshops, seminars, to network, talk to eBay execs and salespeople, so you can talk directly to the decision makers, the people who have the power to do things and change things, which should be really cool. I'm looking forward to that for sure. And we're going to try to do some sort of meetups and groups and connections together for everybody out there who are fans of this show. More about that as we get closer. We haven't really fleshed all that out, to be perfectly honest, but we will do our best to make sure we connect with everybody who wants to connect. So that'll be fun. To use QuickBooks or Xero for any of your accounting. I actually use QuickBooks Online. My accountant, Jared, he actually is a big fan of that. And I've had no complaints with it either. It's a learning curve because QuickBooks Online is pretty robust. It'll do a lot of things. I find it useful though, because it can give you those snapshots we were talking about earlier in this video about, are you making money? Are you losing money? Those sorts of things. And I think it's kind of hard to do those sorts of things if you're not tracking your results on a regular basis. You're kind of behind the 8 ball. I know some people old school will say, well, I just look at my bank account. And I guess I get that to a point, but it's not really an efficient way to run a business. It's not really a way to know if you're really thriving or just surviving. I don't know. I just think it's one of those things. Let's see. One of the good parts, Vegas gambling. Prof loves poker. I do. 50,000 income yearly each Green Room owner. I'm not really sure what that means, Diane, but okay. Yeah, so what else is going on with you guys? I mean, it's Wednesday. 50,000 poker hand. Yeah, I haven't quite played those stakes, Duncan. Sorry. That would be crazy. I have a friend out there in Vegas who deals at he deals sometimes at the what is it, the $500 and $1,000 blind game, cash game that runs there sometimes at Aria. So that's pretty crazy. A lot of money on that table, millions of dollars sometimes. So pretty big game, obviously. Let's see what else is going on. I probably missed some comments back up here when I was running my yap. Kelly said, if I don't pay myself, I end up just using that PayPal debit card for everything. I know, right? I mean, you kind of have to pay yourself and get that off the plate, or else you end up it just kind of gets, it all gets, wasted away, and you don't have it. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Oh, I see. Diane's doing math. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, well, I mean, if you run a group, you're going to find that, and you start running events and you're providing content for people, you're going to find that have expenses. I know, one of the things, I mean, they've had quite a few expenses, so, but I don't know all the ins and outs of their finances. But if I ran a paid group, I would expect to make a profit on it, and I would expect to also provide great value to people. And I would also expect that it would be expensive to do both of those things. So that is what it is. It always baffles me, and I'm not sure where Diane's coming with that, but it always baffles me that in this reseller community, sometimes we get upset at people wanting to make money. And I'm like, that's what we're doing. That's why we're in business. We get upset at people for wanting, because we don't perceive the value, or we think it's not worth it, or they shouldn't do that from some, and I think to myself, that's crazy. Because I want to say to all the people in the reselling world that believe that, and it's a very small percentage of people, I think, who believe that. But for all the people who believe that, I would say to you this: start selling all your things for free. Don't charge your buyers a cent for them. Give them away for free. Go buy them on your own, list them on eBay, Amazon, whatever, and go ahead and sell them for free. And if you can do that and maintain a profitable business, which is pretty much impossible by definition, and you can continue doing that for the rest of your life, then you are better than the rest of us, because I don't think that's really reasonable. I'm in business to, meet some of my financial goals partially, and I don't have any problem with anybody else doing that either. I mean, we're entrepreneurs, and if you can bring value to people and they see value in it and they want to pay for it, I have no problem with that. I see value in QuickBooks Online. I pay for it. Intuit put out a good product. I don't look at it as they should give it to me for free. They should only do it for free. I sell a spreadsheet that people have found value in. It took a lot of time to develop. It took a lot of time to work through. I answer questions about it every week, sometimes every day. It's just the way it is. And so I just think it's one of those things where, like, I don't get upset about anybody who wants to make money in this game, and if they can monetize a part of what they offer to the community and the community sees value in it, then they should do it. I just think that's the way it should always work. And any numbers that you throw out are arbitrary, because who's to say what something is really worth? I know that I have my consignment client, for instance, only because I sat at In-N-Out Burger, I believe it was, with him last year, and he picked my brain about eBay, and I never met him in person until that day. I'd seen him in the Green Room group, and I don't think we'd ever even had a conversation, and he just picked my brain about all sorts of things. Over time, that evolved into he became a consignment client of mine. How much is that worth? I think it's worth a lot, honestly. His consignment business alone is already paid me back like 10x or 20x or 30x or whatever it is what I paid towards the Green Room. So for that one relationship, I would not have had it without them. Could I have found it on my own? Maybe, but not likely. And it's actually about to grow even more, that particular relationship. So, I look at, like, if you take a risk whenever you spend money on something in this business to improve your knowledge, improve your business. And some of them pan out better than others, and that's okay. But I'm not going to begrudge anybody the amount of money that they charge for something. I just don't think that's right. I don't think that's how we should be as resellers, as entrepreneurs. Do you think in bad periods of sales you come back to a regular job? You could. I mean, Polashek, that might be the right play. If your sales were really bad, you could come back to that. You absolutely could. What is your dream car? I don't have one, Aaron. Way back in the day, it was an Acura NSX, but I couldn't even tell you what they look like now. I don't know. I'm not a car guy. They're like point A to point B for me, which I know is super boring and super lame, but that's just how they are for me. Like I don't get really enamored by them. I don't find them that interesting. I've been to some NASCAR races because I'm here in Charlotte. I don't go anymore. They are fun to go to every once in a while. But I just think that cars are just a means to an end for me. I'm downsizing and lowering my store subscription due to lack of sales. You should, future Apple. That's smart. Why not? You know, I mean, that's if you're cash neutral or cash poor, then you should do that. Even if you're cash rich, you might do that. I mean, you can always be cash richer. So the world was built on goods and services. We all have the free will to partake or not. And it was built on poker, Mr. Sadie. Don't forget that one. You left that one out. One of my dream cars is an all-wheel drive Mustang Cobra. All-wheel drive Mustang Cobra. Yeah, that might be a problem. I think it would be so low to the ground that, you know, you try to run over something that was off terrain, you know, you'd probably bottom out, tear it up. But that's pretty funny. All right, guys, listen, well, it's getting late here. Thanks for stopping by tonight. Check out above my head here for another video that hopefully will help you guys out. Check out the info below and hit that like button before you leave, guys. I will see you real soon. This is Prof Sales saying good sales to you.